You know, Memorial Day is getting closer. Heck, May 1st tomorrow. When does summer actually start? We were talking May 1st. Maybe it is Memorial Day. Either way, when summer arrives, a study shares or shows that more than half of Americans are planning a summer vacation. And what surprised us is that about 1 in 3 are willing to go into debt to pay for the vacation. It's called funflation. We're here with our friend, the money coach, Lynette Calfani-Cox. Good morning.
Hey there. Good morning. Great
nice
to be back.
See you. Okay, well, funflation, I've already thrown the term out there. Can you define it for the people?
Yes. So this is a phenomena whereby people are willing to spend kind of crazy prices on experiences and on fun things. So think travel, concert tickets, eating out, amusement park, that kind of thing. And it's a little bit of a reaction to what we had during the pandemic, where people couldn't go out, they couldn't gather, they couldn't go eat at restaurants, they couldn't travel. And so economists call it a little bit of so-called revenge spending, and it's affecting everybody's wallets.
Right. Well, we talk about inflation. It's, the cost of everything is going up, even the fun.
Right. Hence,
funflation.
Yes.
So, what's your take on it? I mean, should we borrow money to have fun?
No. The short answer is no. That's going to get you into trouble, right. Because honestly, there's an unlimited number of things that you can do. Look, I want to go to Beyonce's next concert as well, and those those concert tickets are expensive. Yeah. So you have to pick and choose some things, right? So you have to be mindful about the number of activities, because look, summer is going to be 10, 11, 12 weeks. And if you just say, oh, I'm just going to spend and borrow for everything just to have fun, you're going to dig yourself into a hole. You are going to dig yourself into debt. And it's not going to be pretty come fall or, this time next year.
Yeah, I think it's one thing if sometimes we talk ourselves into holiday spending.
Right.
Because you say, well, the new year's coming and we can pay it off. But it's like before you know it, the summer's coming.
Right.
So that could be very easily in a vicious cycle.
Oh, absolutely.
Of borrowing. So you dig a hole, you get out of the hole, you dig another, right?
You're right back around in that circle, yeah.
Right.
And this is the thing. Listen, we all work hard. We all feel like I deserve it, And of course, a lot of millennials, a lot of Gen Zers, they're the ones, by and large, who are those who are willing to go into debt. Not to say that us Gen Xers and baby boomers and everybody else isn't willing to do so as well. But I think that for the most part, younger people definitely have a YOLO mentality. You only live once, right? And I don't blame them for that. I don't fault them. I really don't, because I actually am a person who believes in saying, listen, just allocate some money in your budget. Have a fun fund. Have some money that you set aside for fun. Just don't make it excessive. Make it commensurate with the amount of income that you have. Look at your overall bills. Do something that's reasonable based on the actual income and the assets that you have.
Right. Well, you see, you mentioned the ages. A majority in that study, a majority of them were 18 to 43 years old.
Yes.
And you're not surprised by that for the reasons you mentioned. So with that said, can we find a balance? Can we borrow, maybe we buy the one ticket and my friend, we go Dutch. How do we get to that point?
Well, there's a number of things that folks can do to save money, if it's for summer travel, for those concert tickets that might be really expensive that you want, whatever it is that might be causing you to spend and to engage in this kind of funflation scenario. One is you can think about what's most important to you and prioritize. So if something is really important to you, like I have a person who works with me, actually, she's she's technically millennial. I think she's 27.
Okay.
27, 28. She went to Coachella, she went out, she flew out to Coachella. But that was a priority for her. She wanted to be at that music festival, right? Think about what you're willing to give up. So you might have to cut back on some things. And that might be okay, because you might say, you know what, it's more important for me to go to Coachella or to go to this food festival or to go to this concert or to have this trip. But you don't have unlimited resources. So you might want to sell some things. Some people have a lot of stuff that they no longer want, need, or use. So you might get rid of stuff in your house, old clothes, electronics, furniture, household goods. that can give you some money to be able to go travel or to be able to engage in some fun activities. Then when you're thinking about travel, you might just, I won't say moderate your expectations, but just think reasonably. Like, does it have to be a week-long European trip? Seriously, maybe you can enjoy, we're here in Texas. We have a lot of amazing places, camping, road trips, things that you can take your car perhaps as opposed to saying flying, that kind of thing. Those are ways to save money. And then you could barter. So some things that you might be spending money on right now, you can think like, are there services that I could perform for somebody that instead of me paying them, I can do a swap? I can say, hey, listen, instead of me paying you for this, why don't I give you X in exchange? I'm good at building websites.
I'll come over and
writing
do
resumes,
the yard, and then you let me
I'll
use
cut
the
your
RV.
grass, whatever.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in other words, you're trying to save your cash outlay so that you can spend that cash on the fun things that you want to do.
Yeah.
I'm not a person who's going to say live in a financial straitjacket, never have fun, don't go out to eat, nix those concert tickets. Because no, I'm like, live your best life, enjoy it, but do it responsibly. Do it in a way that you don't come crashing down later and you're not in debt. Because believe me, I've been there. I once had $100,000 in credit card debt alone. It was not fun, I can tell you. Obviously, I paid it all off.
Sure.
I wrote this book about it, Zero Debt. It became a New York Times bestseller. So I know the perils and the pitfalls of going into debt. It's a trap, and it'll keep you there for years. And it's needless. You don't have to do it.
Well, it occurs to me too, I mean, if we're borrowing and there's interest involved, whatever this thing is that we're buying, we're actually spending more than we have to on it.
Absolutely.
Right?
And especially if you're putting it on a credit card. Listen, the average credit card has an interest rate of about 22 to 24% right now. So yeah, if you're spending $1,000 on something and taking a year to pay it off, you're really spending $1,200 or so dollars, at least $200 more, 20% or more in terms of interest and finance charges. And I always tell people, if you're making minimum payments, that's showing you that you've overspent. Because minimum payments now in the short run really mean maximum payments in the long run. You're just making the banks and the creditors rich. You're giving them, I won't say unmerited, they did make you the loan.
That's right.
But you're giving them unnecessary interest. And they're collecting that off of you month after month, year after year. And at the end of the day, you have to decide, like, interest works both ways. Which side of the equation do you want to be on? Do you want to collect interest for life? I'm in that camp. Do you want to be a saver, an investor? You want to watch your money grow? Or do you want to pay interest for life as a consumer, as a debtor, as a borrower?
Always
You don't
behind
wanna
the
be
eight ball like that.
Totally
you can never
behind the
get
eight ball.
ahead that way.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So anyway, that's just my take on
love it, though.
And I feel like, this isn't rocket science too.
Right.
It's just that a lot of us haven't been taught the basic, money management principles and personal finance strategies that can help us to get ahead.
And to your earlier point too, coming through inflation and coming through COVID, everything's more expensive, but we have to get out. We just want to get out. We need to get out. So the timing of this is very interesting too.
And I get it. I mean, because listen, I did mine in 2021, okay? I'm not going to even lie. I'm not going to sit up here and say, my husband and I, we went for like 6 weeks to Mexico after being on lockdown for, a year and a half. We were like, we cannot take it anymore.
Right.
And the prices were even then ridiculously expensive, but it's just increased. 2022 increased, 2023. Now here we are approaching the summer of 2024, and it's completely outrageous. We're moderating. We're like, it won't be 6 weeks in Mexico. It won't be, it definitely won't be.
Right.
But again, I appreciate that also for people's mental health and their emotional well-being, they do need to have outlets. And now, all of the time, the outlet doesn't have to be spending.
Right.
Because a lot of times, I think people spend during emotional periods. They're depressed, they're anxious, they're worried, they feel stressed out about something, or even they feel euphoric. Oh my God, I got a raise. Let me go out. I can go party now, kind of thing. You really shouldn't spend during emotional highs or lows.
Interesting.
It's better to spend during emotionally neutral times. And I think that for a lot of people, if they kind of tap into like, why am I spending? Like, what's behind this? Am I spending to impress others? Have I looked on the gram, on Instagram, and I saw my friends, they're going someplace and I want to be able to post an Instagram worthy picture, that kind of thing. So you have to really just kind of get in tune with some of the why behind your spending as well. And then, you don't have to engage in the herd mentality and do what everybody else is doing,
That alone will put you on that emotional high and get you making bad decisions.
Exactly.
So, this has been very good talk today.
I
Thanks for
appreciate
coming
the
in.
opportunity. I
Yeah.
mean, just because I feel like, again, people do want to have an outlet and a release, right? And they just need to know how to do it responsibly and to engage in behaviors that give them that sense that life is still worth living. Because, what is it all for if you're just like at home, bored, constantly
just waiting for the
in
number to change.
doldrums?
Say, okay, let's get the interest rates up. Help me out here anyway. This has been great. Lynette Calfani-Cox, the money coach, thanks for hanging out again. Always good to see you.
My pleasure.
And good luck saving and getting a plan together. Summer's right around the corner.
It's right here.